Okay, we are Counter. I am Maddie. This is Vicky. That is Paul with the camera. We're Plymouth Art Book Fair, and we're an artist-led event showcasing artist books from across the UK and other stuff as well. And we've got a website which is very yellow. And I think that's longer than 20 seconds. I could go on.
No. What we started doing Counter as an opportunity came up to run an art book fair after 2 previous one-off events in Plymouth. And we had a bit of a conversation about who might like to do that, and we were all up for it. So we just decided to do it. We needed to find a venue. And Plymouth Art Centre, where I also work, were quite willing to support the event and offered us some in-kind support towards it.
We made a call out via social media for stall holders. We were really interested in finding artists making bookwork, zines, on-creative writing, fluxus, mail art, other kinds of stuff. We wanted to see really exciting stuff in Plymouth, closer to home, which saved people having to travel a long way and pay really expensive train fares.
So we just went ahead with the event. We got a little feature in the local newspaper, the Plymouth Herald, which got a few extra people interested. We had 24 stallholders for our first event. We attracted about 200 people, which was quite unexpected but really great. And it was a very diverse audience of artists, students, academics, families. Has that just changed or not yet?
No, absolutely. We also invited guest speakers, Sarah Bodman, Senior Research Fellow Artist Books UE, Nathan Walker, We Performance, a lecturer at York St John, and also Gillian from an artist with Yesser Akambugi, who did readings with students from Falmouth University. We were unsuccessful with our grants for arts as we got it in too late.
And the exhibitors are working on a great day. So then we listened to the feedback from that event. We did lots of little feedback forms, and people wanted some very specific things from our next venue the following year. So last year, 2015, we put in an application again, and this time we were successful. We secured the venue of Cast, who are also good friends. And
very supportive in kind with cash and other stuff. We had a party the night before, and we knew people would travel down to Plymouth Force on the Friday night, and we thought it was a good networking. We invited the Howling Owls record label from Bristol, who to DJ, even though they're not DJs, and play some people from their label. There was lots of dancing, the new hashtag, bookmakers can dance.
We had a Booker bar, which Cast ran, and we had a bit of booze. Some local people came, such as Mark James there in his lovely orange coat, and it just seemed like a really good way for people to get to know each other the day before, or the night before the event, so that they could already be familiar with each other before getting into that kind of book fair scenario.
We also invited Mark Leahy, who's actually here today, he actually organised it. He wrote a new performance, His Voice, which he later performed again in Exeter and Manchester, which was based on Twitter-generated feed. It was a different situation, the book fair, and also better suited to performance in the evening. Our tech didn't work. We realised that we needed expertise learning
So then this is the Saturday book fair. Sorry, this is the next day. This is our poster outside Cast. What we have discovered is that it's really important to have quite a distinctive identity for the book fair. So these, they're always yellow, you'll have seen our nice books. Paul's got the skills in terms of design, so he does that. And our GIF isn't moving, the little N should wiggle.
Yeah, it should wiggle. Exhibitors, we actually had more applications than we had tables available, so it was a very difficult selection process. And we did give people the opportunity for feedback as well. We learned a lot through that, and I also learned a lot about rejection myself through doing a call out. We did plan the layout to mix up different types of work.
Oh, and so people were sitting next to people they didn't know and were from different places. We knew that we needed to get people to stay for longer, so food and drink was really important. And Maddie and Paul found the kitchen table caterers when they were planning their wedding, so we decided to put them at the counter instead. And it was really good. In fact, it was bodacious.
Yes, because people came back for more. And there was a really diverse audience. I didn't realise this was going to say. There was a really diverse audience. Young people found that we kind of designed the environment so people could hang out. The venue was off the beaten track, so the audience made a special effort. We wanted to create a feeling of a place to hang out and make friends. And people did make friends, including that little boy.
You made friends with the lovely Mark Jessett in his really nice jacket. He works for G.F. Smith. Who are a paper merchant, and they've been really kind and supportive, or particularly Mark, and they've been giving us paper as in-kind support, which we've been able to use for posters and printed programmes, and he comes along and dishes out loads of freebies, so he's really nice, and we like it very much.
We had really exciting applications from people. Here we got Kaiken Collective, who are also here today, who started off the day at Aldi buying flowers and sticking them on their faces. They live blogged and used walkie-talkies. We learned a lot from them. It was great. People were really up for creative approaches to tables and performative behaviours. It was really nice to have graduates and students from Falmouth.
And they kind of started ongoing relationships so that we were able to see them again, such as here today.
Yeah.
This is the ever glamorous Maria White. Maria emailed us saying, when is your next book fair? And so we Googled her, and we found out that she used to manage the collection of artist books at the Tate. So we thought, well, we'll get you to come and do a talk. And not only did she do a talk,
We offered for her to get involved also by inviting Chloe Spicer in her library rave, who was there, and also Martha Kelly from AM Bruno. So what was really nice is people from Manchester and London were getting to meet over the book fair table. It was also really nice in terms of collection because UE Collections bought Chloe's book.
What I didn't say about Maria White is she loaned us some books for a little display. That was really nice. So we invited her. We also invited Ladies of the Press, who were awesome. And because we've got the funding, we're able to pay for their travel to come down, which otherwise we wouldn't have been able to do, so they hadn't come the first year. And we gave them a bit of money, and they then made
a grassroots zine through their live press to document the whole day in a zine. It was really participatory. It offered another view of the book fair as well as live blogging from Keegan, because it included mini interviews, drawings, photos, plastic spider rings. People really wanted to see the printed zine at the end of the day, so they kind of hung out. It was a really good way to keep the audience there.
So we're now planning our 2016 event. That's our website, that's our Twitter. You can use that ahead of 2016. We yet to announce our venue, so keep the eyes peeled on the Twitter. We're starting to look more internationally. We're trying to make connections with Europe and try and get people travelling back and forth that are interested in artists' books. But you can also sign up to our mailing list.
Yes.
I'm Martin, I do bits and pieces, and this is Tom. I also do bits and pieces. We'll tell you more about specific bits and pieces. Now, are we rolling yet?
Yeah.
Yes, can you hear me in the back okay? A bit louder? Yeah. So, Unveiled is an umbrella organisation which brings different people interested in photography together to produce events like this one. Generally involving exhibitions, book fairs, workshops and talks. So this is an event we held in 2015, which we'll come back to in just a moment. So to introduce myself again, my name is Tom. I'm a freelance photographer, and I also run a platform which promotes the work of emerging photographers, primarily through a website and blog with different features, but also a biannual magazine and intermittent zines between that. So I founded Unveiled in Bristol in 2014, which you can see here. Initially I was looking for a space for an exhibition for works by those involved with Young Shot, and then I came across this space leased directly by Bristol Council called the Edwardian Cloakrooms, which, to put it more simply, is some old toilets. So you can see the space here, and then it was split into ladies and gents. So we had an exhibition exploring works around the men or male in one side, and then the all-girl collective Peachy and Keen came on board, and they curated a brilliant exhibition in the ladies' side. And then just to the side there, you can see briefly the half-tone book collection I was looking after for a chap named Greg Jackson. So we had all of those books on display at the same time. So the initial event kind of just came into play by bringing those different people together, and then from there Unveiled was born.
So I kind of got involved through Macular Collective, which is an egalitarian group of young photographers. So again, it's more of a platform to enable them to get involved and do more of what they want. So we kind of started working together from Unveiled 2015. So we worked with a few others and got an invite to work at the hall from Sam White, who kind of heads up Light Play. So he runs workshops and engagement bits and pieces, but is really interested in photography from the point of kind of camera obscura and experimentation. So it was really that background that led us into doing work with him. So through Sam we met Josie, who does lots of kind of really technical stuff that I don't quite understand about photography just yet. So again, she's kind of working a lot more with light and how light kind of works and how that's captured into a camera. So Unveiled was kind of a bit of a big event from Bristol. So it's a 10-day festival where we had 3 different exhibitions. So we had work from Macular Collective, Sam and Josie shared some work that they had started producing collaboratively. And then, I've forgotten their name. I'll hand over to you.
Anyway, so alongside the series of exhibitions we had, we also held a book fair, similar to that from the Counter team. So you can see here IC Visual Lab holding their stall. And then because we kind of wanted to expand the bookworks that we were exhibiting, we also opened an open submission for book awards, particularly with a focus on self-publishing or first editions of books. So we had over 50 submissions from all around the world that came in internationally, and then a panel of 4 judges selected a favourite each, which kind of rolled into a programme of awards which will come into play later on. So for example, the team at IC Visual Lab have offered an exhibition to the winner of their book award. And you can see here Josie running a workshop. And again, the chap here, Tavis, is a young person that came along to one of the workshops, and through those conversations he joined Macular Collective, which we're part of. And then, so this is the work that Sam does. So he uses camera obscura and camera lucidas, and this is a workshop he led called Tracing the Light, so really looking back to the traditional way that a camera obscura would have been used originally to quite physically trace the light.
So one of the other elements was a Petch Kucha kind of evening, where we ran a series of talks from kind of a really varied kind of group of speakers from Bill Douglas Museum based at university. Then this is Alice Mills, who works with the physics department at the university. So she was telling us a bit more about, again, the background of the light.
So then Robert Darch on the left here runs Macular Collective and founded it a few years ago now. So he kind of naturally came on board and is helping us to coordinate this year's festival. And then Jessica Lennon co-directs Dodo Photo Gallery next to with him, which is a space dedicated to photography. So currently it's in a changeover between the previous owner, and it's going to be relaunched for Unveiled this year with an exhibition by Sean Davey, which will, the opening night of which will be the opening for Unveiled, and then leading on from there for the rest of the programme.
So for 2016 we're kind of going a bit bigger and looking more about Exeter and the space of Exeter and how sort of community cohesion in space. So kind of the Southwest is shifting a lot and different kind of organisations are shifting. So we're looking more at kind of the space of Exeter and what is available. So through the process we've been working with tons of different organisations, more as a way of initiating conversations and looking at what they're interested in. A lot of the things that we're hoping to do this year have been kind of co-authored or co-curated through conversation. For us it's been a lot more about joining up the dots of what is taking place and taking it forward. Get in touch.
Good afternoon. Just to introduce myself, my name is Ron Ford. I'm an artist member of CMR, and if everything goes right, which I hope it does, I'm going to introduce you to the organisation and how it works. So, some things I thought I'd tell you about is about CMR, which is Cornwall Media Resources, and to tell you what the opportunities are for artists working with us in Red Roof, who the CMR artists are, some of the events that we've run over the last 6 or 7 years. The artists, we are an artist-led organisation. That means it's run by artists for artists. We have a project space which is our own. We own the building. It's an exhibition space, so we can put on exhibitions of various sorts. And it's a membership initiative, so it's run by members. What we'd like to do is provide resources and space for learning and development. So that's always been an important part of what we do. And also a space where we encourage experimental work. That's a real core value for us. What we offer or what we can do with our resources are put on workshops, networking opportunities. It's a building artists can use for whatever they're interested in. Social events, opportunities, and we do have some AV equipment for loan, but I wouldn't like to say what it is at the moment. I just don't know. This is our building in Redruth, central Redruth. 3 floors. The top floor is predominantly white space, the middle floor is predominantly AV space, and the ground floor is predominantly storage. But it's a space for parties, and you can see the floor plan. We have on the first floor interesting areas under the stairs for video work and lots of interesting spaces. And on the top floor, more white spaces and plenty of light. So anybody who's a member can put on shows here. So our aim is to encourage ambitious work, and the work is always proposed by artist members. They put the proposal in, we look at it, it's selected by us as artists, and then then we promote all the work ourselves. And that's a list of some of the work that we like to show. We also like to raise the profile of contemporary art, and last year's Inland Festival, CMR put on a member show called Interplay, which demonstrated to locals, and we put a lot of effort into attracting local people into the organisation. We also like to forge links with local organisations, and we share trustees, for example, with Back Lane West and Crowdie, and administration. And we also hold some joint events. So the idea is that we begin to build a hub within Redruth for contemporary art. You might ask, what are the opportunities for artists who join? Well, they are fairly simple. To work in a space, the space is available for people. We do also organise pop-up shows, or at least artists booked in proposals for that. And it's also a space to develop new ideas. It's quite a creative space. And there's some things we'd like to do more of. And for example, sharing events, talks and workshops. We'd like to develop this, so we're wanting to encourage people to come and join and put on more events of that sort. So Stuart Woodman here, looking a bit forward. Our organisation, we're a registered charity with a very broad charter, so we can pretty well do what we like as a charitable organisation. We have trustees and directors as part of that, and a management group, which is a group of artists who run the place. And these are the artists that have exhibited with us in the last 5 years. Our events, we put on a number of events over that time, and this is just some of the posters from those events. So you can see the sort of work that goes on, and it's very varied, but it's all generated by the members themselves. What are the benefits for you as artists? Well, I would say that the key benefit is to be involved and part of an organisation that's promoting contemporary art within Redruth and Cornwall. There are all these individual ones as well, but it's being part of that event. Another key part is the idea of networking. So having social events and private views and workshops where we can all get together and talk about our work. And there are quite a number of CMR members in the room today. So what we're wanting to do is to encourage other people to come and join and fill the space. So if you want to get involved, it's 25 quid, and that's it. There is no selection process, and once you pay that, then you're entitled to put a proposal for putting on shows, doing workshops, residencies, or whatever. So if you'd like to contact us, there's myself and Alice over here. And if you want to form your queue afterwards, then we'll be very pleased to see you all and take your money. Okay, thank you.
Right, I'm there's an awful lot of people in the room. I sat down at the front. I'm Mel, and I'm doing kind of half and half presentation. So half is kind of recent and hopefully ongoing practice as a learning curator, recently working with Tates and Ives and before the Tate Modern, and the other half is me as an artist. This image that's just gone was from Catherine Haynes, who did a project called The Beehive with us at Tates and Ives in February. So this is often what isn't presented. So as an artist and as a person who gets jobs and does freelance things, one or the other is normally presented. So it's either shows and things or jobs and stuff. But part of this is to say, for anybody who's kind of at an emerging state in their career, and I don't know how many people are here doing that, that is to push the point of working in education, and for me, how much all my jobs have kind of influenced my own work, and also these things, all the shows and stuff, and how there are kind of critical things that you didn't expect that aren't about getting a degree and doing particular things that end up really influencing your practice. So these are some jobs that I've had. As I say, most recently, learning curator at Tates and Ives, and before that at Tate Modern in the Schools and Teachers Department. And I think there's another one coming up in a minute for that. Oh, I can't either. So this is an image from a project that was called Art School in Tate Modern and Tate Britain. It ran across both sites. I was the curator for the programme for 3 years. It developed so that it could kind of leave behind, in a positive way, really strong links to the curriculum, and it was more of an open kind of practice, an open space for the artists, with the belief that if you kind of trusted and valued and gave artists enough support and an open enough platform, that direct link into their practice would become more open for young people that were working with them. So we really strived not to say to a teacher, you will come and you will get this experience, but rather to hopefully let them trust us. And within that trust, of course, there's risk and failure and things might go wrong. So for us to be the ones that hold that and catch it. This I've included because somebody was looking at this and said, oh, Owen, it looks like you're the shepherd there. You've got all these sheep around you. And he said, no, I'm just a tall sheep, which was kind of like the attitude, I think, of people on the programme, that they weren't there necessarily as people that were imparting particular information, but trying to find a route in for the young people that they were working with to kind of share some concerns of their practice. And for Sam Keogh here, it would be things that are dirty and discarded. He did an amazing performance piece that would pop up in private use. He'd just start talking about, as though he was Oscar, from Oscar who lived in the bin in Sesame Street. Is Oscar? Good. And I'm including this as just, she was brilliant on it, and there were lots of brilliant people on it, but this is Caroline Chantre, and she's my kind of shout out. She's about to have a show at the Baltic, a solo show, I think, and she had one of the Tate spotlights while she was still on the programme. So it's just to say, working in education can be, and I know there are some people here that do work in education at Tate, can be a phenomenal experience, and perhaps maybe more than you might have expected. This is my practice. This is my practice from a little while ago, and this image, which is called The Hare but isn't a hare, and now I've been living here for a little while, maybe I've got more chance of spotting what different wild animals are, but it was included in a show called Curious Nature, which was at the rather wonderful Newland Art Gallery a few years ago. And I'm including this in a kind of like things that are really important to you but you don't know about it at the time. So I met somebody there, another artist. We've ended up doing a lot of shows together, but just also have a very supportive relationship. My practice now has changed from sort of large-scale single images, which are usually taken in the outside, kind of cliche romantic type things, to using more triggers, camera equipment within my work. And this work was kind of the first segue from still things into moving things, and it was apples taking their own photograph as they passed through an infrared beam that was set up. And my work kind of has started to come more inside rather than outside. It's ended up using more technological things and less kind of about the idea of an emotive connection between me and the subject, but actually it's these days more formulated by kind of emotional things in my own life, but it's less evident in the processes that I use and the work that I make. I'm including this because I was invited into a show by Leanne Turvey, who curated this, and her way of curating was not to choose things from the studio, but to set up conversations. I'm going to stop now because this might be noise. So that was the piece of work that I showed in that show, and it came about because she paired me with a filmmaker called Anna Lucas, who was down here recently. Some of you might have seen her talk as part of the Lux programme. And her kind of support about just work with the things that are close to you. Don't think you're going to try and make a film, oh my gosh, what is that? Just do the thing that's immediate and the idea that you have. So that work was made in my flat, and the flash was triggered by the sound of the guys talking in the estate downstairs. So as they were kind of talking and laughing and stuff, it would set off the camera trigger, which would then light up the flowers in the room. So it's more moving image now, and I was recently on the Cornwall workshop, which was amazing, which was run by Ben Rivers, and more curating. So this was a show I curated last year for a format festival in Derby, inviting in people who were colleagues, people I'd taught with, people I worked with at schools and teachers, and also people that I'd just seen on the internet and thought looked brilliant, and invited them in. So I guess I'm just pushing that as a way of expanding your practice through kind of being able to have these conversations with other people. And this was a show with a long-time friend last summer, and we realised that both our practices, which had been very much based outdoors, mine in kind of this sort of cliche, romantic, is it not, is it really sort of way, and hers, oh gosh, I'm really not keeping up. This is the last two slides. Anyway, this is from that show, a set of work called Diversions, which was shot in the studio, and it's again that kind of like, just make the work, just do the thing that's immediate to you. So this is my dark room at the time, and in the cliche way, that is the talk. And that's the end, that's my end note. Okay, thanks.
Okay, my name is Gordon Dalton, which is GD, which I've just taken over from Grace Davies, which is also GD. A is for acronyms, R acronyms, I bloody hate them. I work for VASW, Visual Arts Southwest. I also have the festival coordinator for Plymouth Art Weekend at VAW, which is part of Visual Arts Plymouth, VAFP. We're on to B now. B is for Bang, which is, some of you are certain vintage. Remember Bang, fax back service. We're criticising art bollocks. I will be criticising, I will be faxing back any bad press releases with red lines through them. I will do it. Bad language, people. Do not use bad language. Do not send that crap to me. CD. Cornwall Devon, why I'm here. Hello, I'm very pleased. It's my 4th week in the job. This is really important for me as an artist as well, to stand in front of you, to kind of like do this, to show that I'm one of you. I'm not one of those aliens that operate at board level, kind of like coming down and telling us what to do. I want to change things from the bottom, from an artist's point of view. E, education. Draw that fucking owl. Education. I'm going to start, I'm after those people who are running these places. I want to connect them, good art seasoning, good colleges. I'm going to make them work, I'm going to make them get more money, I'm going to make them give us the money. I'm sounding good already. F, dollars. Come on, people, we need the funding. I'm going to make it easy. We've got certain strands. There is money that I can give out. I want you to ask me for money. I will say no to 99% of you, 99% of the time, but I will give it out. I want to say, if you want something, if you want to go to Chippenham tomorrow, email me. Go and see. I'm going to give money for you to go and see. There's places like Plymouth, there's places like Falmouth, there's Liverpool Biennale. Ask me if you want to go. Equally, we have got curator trips coming up to Berlin. There are 10 places, £200. It'll get you there in July. Should be live on the website next week. Check. And also, if you want to ask me to go to Chippenham, I'm pushing you. I'm not sure why that's there. Hoff, H is for Hoff. Holidays and being at home and not doing anything. We are so overworked, we are doing everything. Artists have to do everything. Do nothing for a while. Sit around, watch Knight Rider. I realise at this point my talk is very camp. Instagram, oh my god, I just forgot to get my phone out. Instagram takeovers, I want you to be in charge of the website. I want you to do stuff on the website. You can do things like taking over Instagram accounts. Come on. Yes.
I broke your camera.
Just email me, I will take over. It's yours. Similar, we can do that with Twitter. J.K. Rowling, Harry Potter. Is it a Y? I'm going to slide in. I can't say that word. Stone. Nothing is set in stone. We can break everything down into little pieces, rebuild it. Let's try and change things from inside and do it differently. Sprinkle the magic. Leadership. Leadership. Brave heart. Be brave hearts. Leadership is going to be a leadership program. I want you to join in. We'll try and get as many people on leadership. We'll bring people in. We're not going to do arts sector stuff. We're going to bring people in who organise music festivals and maybe bring in like CEOs of different buildings. Mentorship. We are running mentor schemes. Some people in the room are part of the mentor scheme. That's a good relationship, but maybe we can do that, make that better. So we have different mentors. Yeah, wax on, wax off. That kind of thing. What was the other? O. No, got my alphabet wrong. N. Networking. Everything is networked. Everything is networked. Online, everywhere, in this room. It's really brilliant. It's really brilliant to be here. Sometimes in between the gaps, between networks and between things, being on the edge of stuff or it feels like some people talk to me today about location or being outside. Use that as a positive. Be on the periphery. Oh, opportunities, open submissions, probably the most talked about subject that comes in the inbox. But opportunities, look on the website, they are tailored for you in the Southwest. There'll be things on there directly aimed at you and wider ones. Send in your opportunities and we will get them on there. P, public art. I work a lot in public art. This is bad, public art. God, this boils my piss. If I see anything like this, this is the equivalent of doing a giant golden pasty. I will not abide this kind of behaviour. Q, questions? Going to be questions. Come talk to me. You can talk to me about the weekend. You can talk to me about VSW. And question everything. Question it from within, question your authority, question my authority, question your own practice, question Beyonce, question Destiny's Child, question somebody else before this slide changes. Just talk to people. Reviews, critical reviews, talking to each other, really important. I want people to talk and to review each of the activities. Sometimes we know our best friends, we know their work, we know the different organisations. We're so close in the region that we are almost on top of each other. You need to be able to criticise the person next to you without fear of losing that friendship. It is not about pissing someone off, it's about reviewing and building better. STU is not for something else, it is for students. Young people, like we are the world, they are the future, all that kind of thing. But young people, like getting them earlier. So a really good public art programme that was aimed at primary schools, it was aimed at 6-year-olds and was dealing with contemporary artists. Student retention, all that kind of thing, will lead on to already a very vibrant can-do attitude in the Southwest. I want to see artists working, I want to see people working within organisations, I want a vibrant art scene, I want the money to be in the region, I want the money to be shared around the region, and I want people to go outside and bring the quality and the talent into the Southwest. So I'm asking, what do you want to do? I'm not leading, I'm not going to tell you what to do. I've got a few bits and bobs, I've got some change in the wallet, I can give that out. But you need to tell me as artists what you need to do. Because as an artist, I don't want someone telling me what to do. So you need to tell me as network manager what you want to do. And I will try and make that happen. XYZ, everyone loves a bit of the old inspirational memes. So we're going to finish on this. Don't forget, you are artists. You make art. You have to make good art. If it's not good art, no one will be interested. There is so much bad art. I want to see good art. Cheers.
I'm Lee, and this is Francesca. We're from Motion Studios. Not really a hard act to follow, Gordon, so thank you very much for that. We're basically artist studios, exhibition space, workshops and incubator space in Plymouth. That's 20 seconds. So this is where we are. Our building is in the top right-hand corner. We've got about 2/3 of the perimeter building of that. It's an old Navy victualling yard. It's Grade 1 listed, out on the peninsula, as you can see. Very beautiful, lots and lots of challenges, but overall a fantastic place to work and to create work. It used to be a place to make barrels. There's various different buildings, brew house. Every building had its own function, and as I said, it's Grade 1 listed, which did cause us a lot of challenges as we were moving through the build and planning on all of the different stages of our project. We had to raise £4 million, just over £4 million. It was about a 50-50 split, heritage and fit out. We didn't know anything about raising money at all, to be honest, and we were completely non-compliant through most of the process. But we just kept being really honest, building really, really good relationships with our funders and moving forward. One of the things that caused a lot of problems with our planning, we had an ecologist who found 4 bat droppings in 20,000 square feet. And was convinced that we had bats, and we spent a whole year looking for these imaginary bats, and that was probably the best imaginary bat photo that we could find, dressing up. I didn't dress this kitten up, no bats were harmed, so if you're there, the ecologist, didn't happen. This is how it looked originally. That's our gallery space.
It's now got a glass front where you can see all the rubble there. There's glass right there.
We were terrified that any of these plants could be protected at any time, but we were quite lucky we didn't find anything like that. So we launched on the 30th of July last year. We had a big, fantastic launch, 2 parties, and went right back to a building site the next day. Literally, we had our project manager sweeping the yard on the morning. Jen and I didn't have any chance to prepare our speech, so it was all off the cuff, pretty much as this is. We've got various spaces. This is our emerge space, so this is for new graduates and new businesses. It's a communal space with licenses for a year. We have a professional development programme, and we're putting on different events and courses, so you'll get completely supported all the way through it, and hopefully some mentoring from our more established artists. We've got 32 individual studios, and there's the opportunity to share or to have a studio for yourself.
The artists can use the workshops that we've got as well, which we'll talk about in a minute. But we've got print studio, ceramics, photography, so they will have access to those facilities.
It is more than a corridor, there is something on the other side of that. So this is our print room. So as Fran said, we've got lots of different workshops, and the reason we felt that that was really important, and not a lot of funders will fund equipment, and we were so lucky that ERDF did. They saw it as integral to our business plan. So we have these fantastically equipped workshops. So our artists can use them. That's £2.50 an hour for our artists to use them. We've also got photography studio and dark room, ceramics, jewellery, cold glass finishing. That's our project and event space. Again, we encourage all our artists to help out, maybe invigilating the gallery, and they can time bank hours and add them together either singly or as a group. They can use this as a test space. We have various different events. We've got Plymouth College of Art in for 2 weeks, the second year Fine Arts Studios in May.
We had a pop-up theatre season as well for Outpost, which was really interesting late last year.
We've got an associate scheme, so for £50 a year or £30 for concessions for students. You can join, you can use the facilities there. It's £5 per hour for our associates. You can also come to the talks that we arrange for our resident artists, come to our private views and exhibit with us, apply to exhibit. We're also developing our education programme at the moment. We're doing some work with START programme for schools. So last year we had 150 school children come to see our first exhibition, which was amazing. They walked around, they got to meet the artists and see how we work and see what it's like actually being an artist and having your own studio space. We're also running outreach. We're not a regularly funded organisation. Obviously, we were very lucky that we had such a huge capital investment, but currently we don't have any regular funding moving forward. So whilst we are going to be self-sustainable, hopefully, with our rent and our operational revenue, we don't currently have anything that actually will pay for our programme. So sponsorship's really important to us. This is what our exhibition space looks like now. And this is some shots from our first exhibition, which was a taste of things to come. We have Bill Woodrow, Richard Deacon, Grayson Perry, Hugh Locke, Gillian Waring, and Mary Kelly, which was a fantastic exhibition. We sort of flew by the seat of our pants and got some work from the collections, which we probably shouldn't have got being so new, but we were really lucky they supported us. And we got this fantastic relationship with Richard Deacon and Bill Woodrow, and they helped support us, and we're building relationships with other artists. So this is Richard and Bill. This is the exhibition that will open on the 27th of May. They're making new work individually and together. And as you can see from the card that they designed, they have a terrific amount of humour. They come and they do talks for us. They're coming to install together. They're just amazing. They just support us so fantastically. So as Gordon said, Plymouth Art Weekender, that's the weekend of the 23rd, 24th, 25th of September. We've got Jock Mooney in our gallery. It's going to be a fantastic opportunity for us to be able to have some really, really cool outreach, that we can involve the children from the local schools, we can involve the local residents and make work and make stuff that just be all over the yard. We've got some residency programmes. The university supports us. They take, Plymouth University, they take 2 studios for a year. We've got 4 artists currently in residence, one of whom's here today. And the College of Art also take 2 studios, and they have 2 artists. And we also, from our sponsorship programme, we support small residencies. We have to make some money somehow, because we do have a loan. So we're starting an initiative of creative collective markets, and this will be really beautiful, bespoke, handmade work from artists and makers. Some will be themed. We might have some vintage stuff going on, not the usual stuff that you'd see, hopefully, but just really, really unusual stuff, and that will be in our event space. They're pretty much going to be monthly. They're on our website if anybody wants to apply. This is our shop. I didn't even know we had that slide in there, but so that's our shop. I was hoping that was the last one, actually, Creative Collectives, but didn't make it go on forever, did you?
No.
So this is our shop. This is our gallery. We actually, despite being in an amazing place with massive visitor footfall, we've been stupid enough not to have an entrance on Main Street, so we're changing it all. So that was our shop. Anyway, that's us.
Hi everybody, I'm Alex Redding from Rural Recreation. Thanks very much for having us here today, or having me here today anyway. Rural Recreation is really a kind of shell. It's a shell for kind of collaboration, it's a shell for research. These are the sort of things that we're concerned with, political aesthetics, environmental ruralism, and art in public space. And I suppose if anything, the project is simply here to demonstrate that you don't necessarily need a space to go out and do interesting work or set up collaborations and collectives. We make a point of working with all sorts of different people, not just artists, but artists with scientists, landscape designers and so on. I dare anybody to read this in 20 seconds, I don't think you can, but basically this sets out the sort of things that we're interested in, which are the commons. Commons of cognitive capital, shared infrastructure, external nature, internal nature. One of the first projects we did about 10 years ago now was working with Charles Salzman's architects. This was a planning application to make Haytor in Devon fully accessible, disability discrimination accessible. So it was a planning application that went into Dartmoor National Park. This was really about colliding conservation with accessibility. The joy of the planning application is that you absolutely have to consider it. So we got all this kind of feedback, lots of publicity. My favourite was this Telegraph article complaining about the stair lift, and apparently, unironically, there was this advert for stair lift. But it was about art as discourse, it was about art as conversation. Another sort of environmental project was this one. People in the Lake District were complaining about the erosion of paths there. So we set up this so that people could virtually visit Scarfold Park without actually having to go up it.
The media has always been an important part of these types of conversations. This time we picked on the National Trust. This is a project with Landscape Art and Network Services. Jaywick is a place that is actually quite controversial, you might have seen it. The project we did was in the context of regeneration. So we came in, we tried to engender a sense of confidence in the people in Jaywick that they could actually have control over their image. They were fed up with being portrayed as junkies, arsonists and so on. So we set up the Jaywick Tourist Board with other artists like David Cottrell and tried to present a more positive image. People's voices were incorporated in audio tours. We set up internet tours, printed these kind of postcards which were portraits of residents there. And that was a collaborative effort with Landscape Art and Network Services. This is a slightly kind of different project where we worked with the Marine Institute in Plymouth and we set up an invasive species touring cafe, put in proposals for various repositories and again involved the media in disseminating this message. So again, it was very much about a discourse on invasive species and the problems they cause. We act as curators as well. This is a 3-year project in Dorset, working with Anna Best, Michael Pinsky, London Fieldworks, and the People Speak. This is about slowing traffic down by placing these fountains in the middle of the road, which is quite good. London Fieldworks, that's an intergenerational space. This was a subsequent programme which was more about kind of local politics. So this was us getting involved, or trying to get artists involved in community-led planning, neighbourhood planning in particular. So how can artists actually get involved in the planning process of houses, facilities, cultural facilities and so on. Plus we did some work around animal architecture. This is a Dartmoor pony skin rucksack. This was a kind of one-off project with a leather worker and the contemporary and the natural world. Dartmoor ponies are basically responsible for keeping the vegetation down, but they have no commercial value. So we came up with this product which could actually be sold, a Dartmoor pony rucksack, but it obviously got a bit of a mixed press. Here we have getting involved in infrastructure. So these are designs for picnic sites that we could also operate as henges. So hence you could predict the equinoxes from the litter bins, information signs, and picnic tables if you're in the right alignment. It's going faster than I kind of thought. But anyway, project with activists Turn Lime Green, an environmental organisation. So here we had a temporary installation. This was about making the normal street lights function as decorative seaside lights, hence conserving energy, but also as bird boxes. So they became part of the infrastructure, animal infrastructure. Another project we did with Turn Lime Green, which was placing these reception desks in car parks so that anyone actually coming into the town had to sign in as either a visitor or obviously they could be a resident. But it was a tool for conversation between the activists and visitors to the town, hopefully to make them a bit more kind of environmentally friendly. This was a more kind of one-off piece that we did with Stay True's tattoo studio. So residents' tattoos, we turn them into bat boxes. The bat boxes are on houses. Once you have a bat on your house, you can't actually get rid of it. It comes permanently attached because you need to have special permission because bats are protected. So it became a house tattoo. This is a project we've done over the past 3 years. This was looking at a big new housing development and the old green fields that were on the site beforehand. Massive expansion onto green fields. These are the beautiful sort of names, Wiltshire names that the green fields had, Cowleys, Church Shining and so on. And so we did a load of engagement projects. This was working with chefs, with the Women's Institute, and we did site-specific cocktail making. I've always wanted to spend public money on cocktail making, so we foraged and then we turned that into cocktails with the chefs. We also planted a lot of weeds, but productive weeds, so things like henbane, all these kind of foraged foods. We also produced a guide, so that on these lampposts throughout the estate, people have a guide to what's local and can be foraged and eaten in their particular spaces. These are 26 signs all over the estate. And finally, we produced these kind of sculptural markers, which are kind of based on the idea of a model village. And these mark particular sites where you can go and pick plums, pick fruit, and so on in the autumn. We also planted a lot of kind of plums and things like that ourselves as well. But this gives you a kind of sense of the whole range of people that we work with. And finally, one of the projects that we're working on now, which is about planning a whole new town in Cranbrook. We're working on the development strategy, and we're working with Blind Ditch. So particularly looking to engage with young people, hence they were legoing the facilities that they actually wanted to see as part of this new development. Oh, God, exhausted. So, yeah, we work with people come and work with us. If you have projects that you'd like to do to kind of work into this sort of area, then please get in touch. Come and say later. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Mrs. Grace Thompson-Dollar. We are Field Notes, but we're also 2/3 of the team that organise Inland Art Festival. Alice, who's also part of CMR, was mentioned already, whose birthday it is in there. She's the third part. And Inland was born over a dinner table in conversation with Jane and Patrick Lowry from Back Lane West and Ian Jolly. What was going on in Cornwall? What was going on in Redruth? What did we want to see? And this is what we want to see. We decided.
So the result was a 4-day festival in September last year, and it was a real success. It felt really great. It was 4 days, 90 artists, 13 venues, and we had about 4,000 people through the doors, which was surprising considering Redruth doesn't have the same history as art as the rest of Cornwall does.
And we decided, because we wanted a really wide audience, we wanted people off the streets in Redruth to feel like they could come in and interact, we would have a theme of play, and all the works would draw on that in different ways and kind of invite interaction, maybe not even look like artworks, but just look like something you wanted to get involved with.
We had, of the 13 locations, we were everywhere from a disused Liberal Democrats office, a broken down chapel, a 4-storey empty building, the street. We had fantastic performance work happening in the street, and many, many more.
We showed works which we selected by curation through research, so we were looking for artists whose works would draw on those themes and serve the purposes that we wanted to serve. But we also had a big open call, which was open to artists across the southwest. And we had a really good response. And then we used the spaces and we mixed in all of the work, so people were showing side by side.
It was really important to us that it was a non-hierarchical festival, and no matter how the works were selected, they were all displayed with the same level of merit. And so we had everything from Turner Prize winning artists to current students all showing works side by side.
And it was really important that there were lots of things going on that you could get involved with. Pulling on different threads.
So this one here is Emma Smith, who's a fantastic artist. She does a lot of work with Arnold Feeney, among others. And this was a sound workshop where we explored the human response to new sounds, and we were all asked to make different noises and respond accordingly and make selections throughout. So there were many different ways to explore play. That could be through fear, the darker side of play, what happens when boundaries are dissolved.
So we've got Fish Factory here, who created a completely immersive experience in the town council offices that had school children screaming. And then Back Lane West opened up their space for the show. It's important to say we had lots of local artist-led organisations who put on exhibitions as part of it, and that was one of the main aims of the festival. So CMR, who Ron mentioned earlier and talked about, and Apex, who are a charity which are based in Redruth, who work with adults and young people who've got autism. This was Kaz's workshop on the street, which struck fear into some Redruth residents to the point where the police had to come out because a man was dragging a mattress through the street and someone was banging on the clock room tower. Unfortunately,
the policeman came and saw some signs up and just went, "Oh, it's art," and wandered off again.
Yeah.
And that was also Sketch House, who did a great live performance night on the Friday.
And we had a film and video programme.
Curated by Alice.
Yeah. Which again mixed sort of big name artists with, these were a couple of recent graduates from Falmouth. We held that at the Regal Cinema, which is amazing in Redruth. So we sat down at the end and before we'd even taken it down said, are we going to have to do this again?
It seemed like people had already decided that it was happening again, and so that kind of waterfall of movement led to us planning the next one, and that's where we are now. So this time we wanted to start from a conversation we had with a Redruth student a student at Redruth School, who said, well, you know, I love living here because it was once the richest town in the world. And we sort of nodded and went, oh yeah, right, very good. And she was exactly right. It was the richest square mile in the world at the peak of its industrial past. And
a lot happens in Redruth to celebrate different elements of that past, but what seems to get missed sometimes is thinking about how you can build a future from that. And so we want the festival for this year, for this October, to focus on looking to the future, imagining possible and impossible
futures for the town by drawing on its architecture, by celebrating its industrial history, by looking at the geology that surrounds the town. We want to work with artists to imagine a new future, and that could be possible or impossible, weird and wonderful.
We're working really hard to raise enough money to put in some commissions that work with different community groups in the town. So they're with the Redruth school children, we want to work with them.
We are working with them to devise a trail through the town. We're working with Tam Pemberton, who's a National Trust gardener and a graduate of Camborne School of Mines, to develop an indoor community garden that draws on the far-reaching and ever-expanding Cornish diaspora.
And we want that to be the heart of the festival, central space which will hold the talks and the workshops and the drop-ins and the conversations and the dinners that we hope to put at place at the centre of this year's festival.
And so we're working with lots of different groups to devise new ideas, to devise new artworks and new plans, whether it's architecture students or other organisations such as Medium Rare. We're working together to hear as many voices as possible to create some sort of future.
And we will bring back the artist groups, some of the artist groups that we worked with before, the wonderful organisations that are based in Redruth, and some new faces as well, other people who are active in Cornwall and maybe even further afield. So there are really going to be lots of ways to get involved this year.
So there's still the open call, and that will go out in a few months down the line, so look out for it. We really look forward to receiving applications for that. And yeah, we have the crowdfunder, which will be going live in a few weeks.
Yeah, hopefully this week, maybe. We'll let you all know on Twitter. And you can come and volunteer or just get in touch with us if you've got an amazing idea that you think might fit in. Yep, obviously still raising money, but the date for your diary is the 21st to the 23rd of October. Thank you. We are the last Petra feature of this session. There is now a rearranged table in there, a long table discussion with a menu of conversation, but feel free to talk about whatever you like and have a look at the other artists' interventions. Please, if you have reserved dinner and haven't yet paid and picked up your token, get yourself down to the front desk and do that. Thank you.